Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another good episode of Mount Schmoedown. I am one of your co-hosts here today, Ryan Payne, and on my right is my other co-host, Ben Rayner. Our special guest, or at least our third head, John, unfortunately could not be with us today. Of course, like anything with internet issues, decides to, attack you when you don't want it to. But that being said, we still look forward to have a good episode here. John will be with us in spirit. But Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely well. I'm looking forward to this one. Stacy Howard is a great competitor, great entrances, and I'm looking forward to diving into her career today.
I do as well. And if some of you are joining us or looking at the rewatch or wondering what we're talking about, it's right there in the thumbnail, guys. We are talking about the career of the Sassy Stacy Howard. Not sassy, the Sassy Stacy Howard. To me, I think in her career, she's earned the in her name because she has without a doubt, one of the qualities that makes a great Schmoedown compared to like top level is character and charisma. That's two, but still, she works them both in very well.
Absolutely. And she has a knowledge to back that up too. So
yeah,
it's great. She has like the full package, in my opinion.
She honestly is one of the underhanded, like overlooked and sometimes underrated players of the Schmoedown. Of course, even then when the Schmoedown was still starting, you still had guys like Dan Murrell, John Rocco, like right there in the conversation, and then up-and-comers, or at least people who showed they were dominant, like Viviani, McWaney, were always in the constant conversation. But Stacy, she was there right around when they started the studios, like right around in season 3. Her journey working with Brienne of 6 Degrees, and then finally becoming a player of her own, she really has. Honestly, like I said, she really has like a whole litany of moments in the Schmoedown you can go back to, and that she's tied right there in the framework of the Schmoedown. Honestly, she next to Clark and Rachel and even Mark Knoppick, Stacy Howard is definitely one of the top level playing women that makes the Schmoedown great. That's just my overall general impression of her, not my first impression, but just my overall opinion of her.
Absolutely, and she's great at singles, and she's great at teams. She's playing on some of the more entertaining teams, and she's caused some upsets with the singles tournaments. She has it all.
I agree with you. She definitely has. I mean, if we're just looking at when it comes to records and Stacy, she's played a total of 13 singles matches, although having to count in her match against Kevin Smith would make it 14. And then, of course, no, I'm sorry, it would be 13. Sorry, she had a record of 7-5 when she played against Kevin. Now it's 7-6. But even then, total of 13 singles matches and a total of 9 teams matches makes it 22 overall, and spreading it out amongst the Schmoedown studio seasons. She's played in every season since they've been in studio, actually.
Absolutely right. She goes right along with all those what is that legacy players like Snyder or Viviani, or she's been there since the Collider era. And she keeps going, and it's really impressive. You got to love a player with this long of longevity. That then she can hang out with all these players. It's really fun and it's really impressive.
It's what that impressive is just not one of the it's like one of the second or the third things I would describe Stacy Howard. I mean, you are right. She had the longevity she's had of just being around the Schmoedown. But going into it, let's just get into Stacy. Let's just stop talking about our overall impressions of her. I mean, we're gonna get more into that when we close out the episode, but let's just break into it. Let's dive. I don't have a glass and a bottle of rosé with me to dive into her career. But you know what? breaking down. Since we did talk a little bit about Stacy when we were talking about Brienne when it came with her career. Let's just talk about earlier on her start with Brienne at 6 Degrees. One of the first only female team, I would say, of the Schmoedown. Next to the Shire Wolves, 6 Degrees and the Shire Wolves are like one of the few only female teams that were able to really leave a great impression in the Schmoedown. I mean, I'm not talking about like later on. I mean, Perry and Haley were great as the witching power, but they had but like drawing back to what Ben said, the longevity they had. Scene of their first match coming in, going up against I think it was the Real Rejects or it was Team Trek, honestly.
And if we're talking about 6 Degrees,
it's the Wingers. It's the Wingers. That's right. We talked about them going against 6 Degrees. Yeah, I'm sorry, but go right ahead, Ben. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
If we're talking about 6 Degrees, we can't not talk about all the great entrances too.
No, honestly, that is definitely something never to be overlooked, especially with Stacy that bled into her singles career were the great entrances that she gave. But yeah, with her and Brienne, it really was an evolution. Like when we talked about earlier with Brienne, when we talked about last time with Brienne, the evolution of their entrances started simply off as just maybe doing dances, then to getting more into movie references, then into doing actual cosplaying that really helped separate them. Like brought the presentation out of them. It really brought like a great visual presentation of the Schmoedown. I mean, coming in, the work, time management they put in just to get these outfits together. I mean, I still love 6 Degrees coming out in their matchup against DC Movie News as Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. And still, it's like one of their best, one of their best entrances. And going on in, seeing the ads, I mean, Brienne and Stacy were really like a great cohesive unit together. I mean, other than the fact that those two had they did like a podcast together, 6 degrees of movie, 6 degree separation of movies, or I can't remember the full title. It's slipping me right now. But the fact that Brienne and Stacy showed, I mean, I'm most likely repeating some of the stuff I may have said when we talked about Brienne, but just the fact that those two work together, it does prove that if there's someone you've worked with outside the Schmoedown, like in either a podcasting sense or or as a co-host for YouTube shows or on panels, that same chemistry can build into the Schmoedown itself. Thank you. I got my window right open in front of me, so I'm getting like a blast of air.
I mean, what was I going to say?
Apologies, man.
No, that's okay. I mean, I had something slip my mind. Oh well. You did. They were always fun to watch. They never gave up. They always brought entertainment.
Yeah.
And yeah, gotta love them. Gotta love the 6 Degrees.
With 6 Degrees, with Stacy, it was really kind of like a back and forth between her and Brienne. There were some games where Stacy was being the heavy hitter. Sometimes Brienne was the one pulling the team in. Especially, of course, their match they played the loser breaks up the loser breaks up match against Tough Beats. It was right there to where it was literally like Stacy and Brienne were like a cohesive unit. Sometimes they missed, but when they got but like everybody else in the Schmoedown, the moment they got something they liked, they rolled with it and they were able to see through it. The only a couple of matches where they were not at the top of their game was going up against Team Trek. And I would say, what was the second team they faced? Who did they face after? Oh yeah, the Wolves of Steel.
What did you say? Right, you can't forget about that rivalry.
No, that is correct, Leo. That's why that match was so important. We dabbed on it a little, Perry, but getting more into it now. I mean, we literally talked about now all three women that's been involved in this rivalry: Brienne, Perry, and now Stacy. It's literally like one of the few times I would say in Schmoedown writing, or at least in the storytelling aspect of the Schmoedown, Christian was able to get an actual storyline pushed through. That I mean, oh my god! I mean, knowing the fact that it was a good setup. I mean, Perry beats. Brienne beats Perry. The start of Brienne's little heel turn, and then it starts to bleed into possibly. I rewatched that match between Stacy and Boyko. Before then, Boyko and Perry approached Stacy while she was doing her studying. Wanted her to join them because of Brienne's new change of attitude. Also, Brienne bringing in Jay Washington as a manager. You know, Brienne getting more serious. Jay being the perfect mouthpiece for her. And then, of course, Stacy at the time, people weren't sure about Stacy. Was she still going to be the good girl, or was she going to stay loyal to her friend Brienne? And then throughout that entire match, I got to be honest. If you guys really want to, we'll jump back. We're definitely going to touch on this later, but I want to bring this up now, guys. If you guys immediately think of Stacy Howard and the first thing you think about her is her ability to pull answers out of nowhere, and you have not seen this match against her and Jonathan Boyko, watch it, because this literally was the first instance to where that magic began in her match against Boyko. 2 questions that she was able to pull just out of nowhere. One in the first round and the second in the wheel round. Now, I believe the first one was the 6th or 7th question, and Stacy just wrote down an answer, obviously not knowing it. She got it correct. The look on her face, obviously it's the same reaction she always had when she gets something right that she knew nothing about. It was literally pure magic. And then in the wheel round, when she ends up spinning, hold on, what was it? Where's my notes? She got action adventure. Yeah, she spins action adventure like on the second time around. I believe there was one question that pulls up. She didn't want to go to multiple choice, so she ends up saying the answer. And once again, she's correct. And seeing the fact that Stacy, even during that early time, that singles career, the fact that she was able to pull answers out of nowhere was kind of proof that Stacy is someone never to overlook and underestimate. I mean, she ends up winning against Boyko down in the 3rd round. I mean, it came close to a TKO because Boyko, he's able to get his 5-point question and Angelina Jolie, but Stacy was still able to pull out a victory. And then, of course, at the crescendo of that match, Boyko and Perry approach her in friendship, holding her hands in the air as if, you know, this trio is formed. But then Stacy just puts her hands down, walks away, and gives a big hug to Brienne and Jay, who are right there. Pretty much a heel turn for Stacy as well, which then does bleed into, that's right, the commando question, Leo. Because at first, Christian was hesitant to accept it at first because their answer was flight attendant. But stewardess is still an acceptable answer. Even now today, if people want to go on to airports, or like if you're applying for a job, stewardess or flight attendant is still there. I mean, of course, men can still apply for that position. But even then, when you go to certain airliners, or you want to apply at certain airliners, you see the position of flight attendant or stewardess pop up. They're practically the same thing. It's just a different name title. But yeah, her face was just fantastic. She could not stop laughing to herself. And that was just the beginning of the many, many times she was able to pull answers just out of a hat like a magician. I mean, Josh McCouga maybe has that McCouga magic. Stacy Howard, and to do a video game reference, she's kind of like a sorcerer. She has that sassy sorcererness. That's I'm trying to find a good alliteration with her name. I'll think of it down the road, but Brent, go right ahead. I'm going to keep talking.
Well, I just wanted I remember what I was going to say. What makes 60 Degrees so great to watch? Yes, they're entertaining. Yes, they have the knowledge. But what makes them so fun? They don't have an A player or a B player. Both of them are the A players on that team. They both contribute equally to each other. And you can tell whenever they work together, they have really great chemistry. To where Brian could trust Stacy to come up with an answer like that. Or they just trust each other, which makes them a really great team to follow, in my opinion.
That is true. Part of me kind of wished with 6 Degrees they still kept going, but you know, it made sense. Unfortunately, with Brienne, we did talk earlier in our episode. Brienne, unfortunately, she had some personal issues. She had to step back. So then Stacy was on her own once again, but that still did not slow her down. As when we get, because look, this season 4 was literally Stacy's coming out party as a singles player. Beats Boyko, then she gets in that great match against Mark Ellis, which goes into sudden death, and she pulls out the victory by remembering. Oh my God, what was the second question? Sudden death. I was just watching that match because I only remember the first sudden death question, which was this act. John Cleese, Kevin Costner, and Carrie Ellis played this character, which was Robin Hood. I just can't remember the second one. You know what? Don't worry. I won't obsess over this, but still, that match was just the beginning of Stacy's career. She does go on to lose to Rachel Cushing, obviously, but even then, Midnight Cowboy, that's it. What was the film? What theatrically released film got an X rating? She had Midnight Cowboy. Ellis thought it was Deep Throat, which was a completely different story. But even then, it was still fantastic because it was a bit of a. I'm going to be honest. This is not negative. This nearly did feel like Stacy's match to lose because this was again Stacy pulling an answer out of nowhere. She was able to get the last question in the first round to keep a tied score of 5-5 against Mark Ellis. Like Stacy once again sacrificing whatever lambs that she has in her corner to once again pull out that answer in order to keep going. Although her getting horror thriller, something she did not want to get, it did hurt her because she had to go to multiple choice almost every question, but she only ends up getting 3 points. And then, of course, it's Ellis's turn. Ellis is able to, of course, still do well. But still, it to me almost did feel like Stacy's match to lose, especially in the third round. But she was able to keep that score tied between her and Mark Ellis to get that sudden death. So, however people want to look at that match, Stacy did do a good job remaining calm under the pressure, because flip-flop, we could have gotten Ellis versus Cushing, but instead we got Stacy versus Rachel, which is still, I would say Rachel and Stacy's a great match. Yes, she did. I did say she did lose to Rachel, but come on, not many people are able to navigate their way out of opponent's choice, to be honest. And it still is. It's still difficult for people to get there. Whenever you get opponent's choice, you never know what you're going to get. Those who watched this past pay-per-view, obviously a certain player did a great job with opponent's choice. I don't want to talk about a certain match unless you've seen it, so I'm giving vague references. But even then, Stacy, it was just that season was the early potential of Stacy Howard. And then season 5 and 6 later on, this was Stacy Howard reminding everybody never to underestimate her, regardless if she won or lost.
Well, yeah, I forget. Was it season 5 or was it season 6 when Stacy joined Corruption?
6, because she was still with Jay during season 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was a tease earlier in season 6, because in season 5, I know Ethan Irwin was making his debut, and then of course the Anarchy tournament happened, and then so Ethan fell under Jay's management, and from there he teamed Ethan with Janine, the Time Machine, but then of course Stacy, feeling left out or not, feeling underappreciated, decides to join Corruption, and it does well for her actually. Let's just brief. In season 6, she goes up against. Let's see. Actually, her first match is up against Janine in season 6. She ends up losing though, but it was a very interesting match. And then, of course, her turnaround came later on in season 6 when she beats Mark Riley in another Ultimate Schmoedown tournament, which leads to a great line that she says in the post interview to Jen. All marks are dust before me.
Oh, God.
While holding that bottle of rosé. Oh, go ahead.
She's great at the one-liners, too. She really does have, a complete package.
Yeah.
For a Schmoedown competitor.
It definitely shows another great quality of a good Schmoedown competitor, being able to turn a phrase, And not just with one-liners, but being able to craft this little story in your head to where a freaking reference from a movie you've never seen could make sense. Like in her match against Makuga, she does a great promo when it's off of Jay's microphone, because I just remember she goes in. I mean, the main point of her monologue is to tell people that she's ready to be a big time player. I mean, oh my god! I mean, then in her match against Makuga, she comes out dressing like Cher from Clueless, along with Janine, who's dressed like, I forgot the name of Stacey Dash's character, but yeah, both her and Janine come out dressing like the girls from Clueless. And then she and Josh just having themselves a good back and forth match. I mean, she beats Josh clearly, but it was just so much fun just to see Stacy stay in character after the match, completely disregarding Josh Makuga, and then leading to two great after interviews. One, of course, which is dominated by Jay, but then, of course, later on is with Josh Makuga literally grabbing a podium and sitting there going like, I was being nice, but if people want to look over me, and then leads that great gif of Jen Sturger with a plastic cup, red cup with Chardonnay, just going wild berries. So everyone wants to look at where that gif came from. Me, I'm saying watch the match to enjoy the journey that leads you up to that moment. We are definitely talking about her right now, Rob. We are definitely talking about her. We're just talking about her match with Josh Makuga, or just the snippets of her match with Josh Makuga. But still,
absolutely.
Still going in with Stacy. Like I said, she's interwoven with so many great moments in this Schmoedown, not just of her own moments, but the moments that do follow along with it.
And she really has fun doing it. Like,
oh, without a doubt.
You can tell she has the best time.
I mean, it's clear, honestly, that she has a great time doing this, because why else would she come out with a bottle of rosé in her match against Mark Riley if she didn't? Of course, some people are going to be like, "Oh, she's not taking this seriously. Oh, she needs to be more serious about it." Is that even a problem? Is that such a bad thing? I mean, if Stacy wanted to take it seriously, she would have did the Roka approach, not come out dressing in cosplay. Do what Roka and Kalinowski did, stop coming out in cosplay. But no, she keeps doing it. I mean, of course, when she was with Corruption, it was nothing but the black jacket. But even then, those entrances made Stacy her own unique competitor. It gave her own unique edge in a match, win or loss. I mean, for God's sakes. I still love the fact that in season 4, in her 2 singles matches, she comes out dressing like Kurt Russell's character, Snake Plissken, in her match against Boyko, and then I forgot his truck driver's character in Big Trouble in Little China. But you still see that Stacy shows her side of a movie fan. She's coming to dress out like the characters she loves, not like with Mike or with Roka, where they just want to come dress up like themselves or dress up like certain fictional characters.
And yeah, absolutely. And like we've been saying, she has that talent to back it up too. It's not like yeah, absolutely. Do you have a favorite match to go back to watching her?
It is honestly a bit of a toss-up. I mean, just rewatching her match against Boyko, I'd almost say it's a favorite. But even then, one of my favorites watching her, I would have to say, is her match against Zipper when she was part of the Rock Stars. Honestly, just seeing, this is another one where Stacy is being not as serious about all this, but she's going into play for the trivia aspect. And it, once again, ties into that sassy magic that she has, how she's able to not only maintain a strong battle against Eric Zipper, but in being able to win the match by pulling out another question that she knew nothing about. That 5-point Beowulf question. I mean, come on.
It was unreal. I remember watching it and I'm like, wow, she has the goods. I mean, it is really fun to watch. And one of my favorite matches she did was last season, like with Great Drake. That was really fun
Yes,
to watch.
the double Stacys.
Yeah.
That was a fun match too. I liked how it was a return of Great Drake. I really would have loved to have seen if it went any differently, but even still, I could not have gone up against either of them because Stacy and Gray are just fantastic competitors. The fact that Gray was even able to tap into some of that sassy magic to pull out some answers was awesome.
It was so impressive, and like I said, it's so fun to watch. And yeah, and then I'm curious to see what Stacey does next. Definitely.
Well, next, personally to me, I want to see her get another match again, obviously, this season. I mean, no idea if Sam has an idea of where she's going to be paired up with regarding the team. Like, is Stacy going to remain maybe a singles player and then possibly somewhere down, maybe somewhere down like halfway towards the season, we'll see Stacy in either the singles tournament, or is she just going to once again, just get like one of those matches, kind of like outside of the singles tournament where she's just playing for the record instead of, playing for the championship.
Absolutely.
But what about you, Ben? I mean, serious. Oh.
I like that. I like that fight. Pairing her with McQueenie. That would be a fun team.
It would. I think one of my biggest downsides with her and McQueenie would be because McQueenie, it's unsure exactly because this season he wants to play for a championship. And I'm not saying Stacy doesn't want to either. I guess, obviously have to address the fucking elephant in the room. One of the reasons why Stacy was not able to be retained by Roxy this season was mainly because of her work schedule. Right. Sam picks her up. Obviously, I'm not saying Roxy couldn't have picked her up either, but it was clear that Stacy did enjoy working with Roxy, honestly. And I definitely love to see that same mutual benefits with Janine as well. The fact is that both Sam and Roxy traded players with each other without having to. Sam picks up Stacy, who was originally with the Rockstars, and then Roxy picks up Janine, who was originally with the Suspects. So in a way, even though if I want to guess what Stacy's going to do down the road, yes, Brian, that is a great idea pairing her with McWeenie. Stacy could definitely, I think she and McWeenie could have a great time having fun with the matches. Although I do think that with Stacy, I don't know. I wanted her to beat Kevin so badly. I wanted her to beat Kevin Smith to see her move forward. But you know what? That's okay. It's just kind of, go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Everything going to hit. And that could make for a great rematch down the road.
It would.
Stacy versus Kevin part 2. That would be fun, and I would love to see that. Have him come back with a vengeance and just beat Kevin Smith.
To be honest, I really could see that. I could see that possibly happening maybe to me, I think Stacy, she's that kind of caliber player who could play at a spectacular without having to actually have a title sequence and having a title match. We just saw that last year when we just saw Smith going up against the Flirt and Flouse, and we saw that again with Jericho against Brittany Young. So personally to me, with Stacey Howard going in, I'm already dragging in too much about what I think in the future, but still it's unknown at this moment. I do say, like myself, I think Stacey, she can be one of these great players that all takes is one match for her to remind everybody why she's in the Schmoedown for a reason.
Can you see her in the singles tournament this year?
I hope so. I actually hope to see her in the singles tournament. I want to see her in the singles tournament, but it's also going to depend on how some of the other players in the usual suspects are going to. To me, McWeenie, he's obviously going to want another match before the tournament happens. Let's see, Liz Shannon Miller. I definitely see her. She's going to want another match as well. Ethan Irwin as well. Like already if Sam had to pick some people for the tournament, I don't think Christian's going to do that 36-person tournament again. That was already insane for him. But even then, if that is a possibility, McWeenie, Liz, and Ethan are already the top 3 choices for the suspects. Stacy, I mean, and I don't, and this is really nothing against Stacy, but just putting her up against pairing her with these 4, the general audience or people who are not aware of her career are automatically going to think of her as the weak link, and she is not.
No, she's not.
She is
Absolutely
definitely not a weak link.
I mean, yeah, you have to think Liz and Ethan will be on a team together. That if not confirmed, that's almost confirmed, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could. Actually, before you finish your thought, that comment Rob that talked about the more lighthearted matches Schmoedown's been lacking in. That is definitely where Stacy shines. She does.
Sorry.
I'm going to say, you have like a ticket. You trying to purchase plane tickets to go somewhere for a second?
yeah, exactly.
But what I was trying to say was that Stacy, she definitely works very well in matches that are lighthearted, but still have a serious level of stakes involved. Like some of her best matches are because there's like a lighthearted sense of fun going in. Like the best examples. Her first match in Anarchy, when she was paired with Winston Marshall with Coy as a manager going up against the Founding Fathers. Wait, I know this. That was 100% a lighthearted match, especially in a live format. But then going up against 2 serious players like Dan Murrell and John Roca, that obviously, I mean, people, if you look at that match, obviously it was the Founding Fathers match to win. But even then, Stacy Howard was 100% a top player as she was literally carrying that team to the 3rd round. I mean,
absolutely.
Post a photo of Stacy Howard and Winston together as a team, I would put down Stacy Howard into the hospital for carrying Winston throughout the entire match.
Ooh.
And that's and that is nothing against it, but it was obviously was not playing the game.
that was a fun match to watch, though. That was fun.
Yeah.
Makes me wish we got more of that team.
I don't know. I mean, it was clearly I mean, maybe we could have seen more. I mean, it was just an Anarchy sense. Kind of like with most, like 80%, 70, maybe 70% of the teams that were in Anarchy. Some of them stayed together. Some of them were just like, oh, okay, that's it, we're done. Maybe they'll play again. Maybe they won't. But even still, looking at that match with Wait, I Know This, just going on in there. I mean, they get Pixar movies, and someone like, and it was kind of hard because I've seen Stacy struggle with. Oh, that was Andrew Guy. That was Guy she gave the finger to, Leo, because there was I can't remember what question it was in the 3rd round, but it was one of the questions, and then Guy just yells out to, I think it was Winston, "You suck." Winston just goes, "Your mama," and then she just throws that middle finger up there.
That's her in a nutshell. That's what makes her so great. She's not afraid to get down with everybody like that. It's awesome to watch.
Oh, no, she's not. That's one thing. That's the sassy part of her. She does not care about what people in the audience are trying to do. I mean, it's one of the reasons why she was so damn good. Because when she's on stage, when she's playing, she's focusing on just playing alone. She doesn't care what anybody else in the studio is going to say or in a live crowd. And let's not forget, the person she was paired with, I mean, not just Winston, she had Coy as a manager, who Coy really put out his A game there, doing this whole Jeff Goldblum impression. I mean, sitting there on stage, like with the open tee and everything, which was hilarious. And then knowing the fact that she and Winston comes out together, I think it was the Real Rejects in dinosaur costumes. So knowing the fact that Stacy can have fun, but then later on get down and dirty and play like someone you have never seen before. Yeah. I kind of forget. She did. Wait. I don't think she played Clark Wolf.
No,
That was Brienne. That was Brienne, Brian. I'm sorry. Oh, never happened. I'm sorry. The one match that never happened. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the Clark Stacy versus Clark thing in your tab. I apologize, Brian. But you know what? That could have happened. He is right about one thing. That is a match, unfortunately, we did not get to see happen because at the end of season 4, well, during the middle of season 4, there was that storyline to where Jay was trying to get Clark and Rachel into the Viper squad, and they both politely declined and said no, which led to those. And I don't get those two perfect pairings in that tournament. I mean, Brienne versus Clark Wolf, who she ends up beating in an upset. And then, of course, Stacey Bean Mark goes to her up against Rachel. I mean, if Brienne, and this is nothing against Brienne, if Brienne possibly had still stuck around, we could have possibly seen a Sharwold versus 6 Degrees match, honestly, in season 5.
Oh, man, that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Who do you think would have won that match?
I mean, if this was just the Sharwold starting out, I would say maybe. Wow, that is a toss-up, honestly.
I think that one depends on the wheel.
Yeah, honestly, it really would have. It would have gone down to the wheel in that one. Just like because I'm trying to think of I'm thinking of their match, the Sharwold's match against Ken and Dagnino. Because they got dance movies in their second round, and that really did hurt them going into the third round. So if they had gotten a slice in this fantasy booking of 6 Degrees versus Sharwolves, if the Sharwolves had gotten a slice like dance movies, maybe romantic comedies or Pixar, and if it was against 6 Degrees, yeah, I honestly could see possibly a very close game going into the third round. But I still think the Sharwolves would have won because Clark and Rachel are very great in the third round.
Absolutely. I
mean, I'm pretty sure Christian wanted an idea. He wanted to pitch the Sharwold, a 5 Club versus Jay versus the Viper Squad kind of thing. I mean, one of the things that Jay got pissed. I mean, that's kind of what bled into the 6th. That's what bled in with the Inner Geekdom tournament, honestly. I was actually gonna pull that clip, Leo. I actually had that saved. While I'm pulling it up, I will talk a little bit mainly about one of the issues why because in season 5, there was when the Sharwolves did join the 5 Club. I remember during that time, there were some comments going, why are we getting Emma versus Jay? Why are we getting 5 Club versus the Viper Squad? Shouldn't it be 5 Club versus the Lion's Den? But if you kind of look back at it, that storyline did kind of work itself out because that's what I think it was originally meant to be. That's why I'm thinking even more now. We were meant to get a 6 Degrees versus the Sharwolves. I wouldn't have been surprised if that was supposed to be the Sharwolves' first match or their second match if Brienne had not stepped away.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't 6 Degrees ever go up against Team Action?
No, they did not. They played Team Trek. They played the Wangers. They played Real Rejects. They played Tough Beats. They played the Wolves of Steel. And then they played DC Movie News.
That would have been a fun match. 6 Degrees versus Team Action. Who do you think would have won that?
Once again, like with the Sharwolves, it depends on which part of Team Action did we got. Early Team Action or...
That's it. Early Team Action.
Oh. I would go with 6 Degrees, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I think it's most likely because with 6 Degrees, they did something... okay, here we go. I got it. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull up that clip. But it's kind of like what I do believe with 6 Degrees is that on their best game or when they got a slice that they were good with, yeah, they were able to pull out amazing victories, honestly. All right.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Yeah, because let's be honest, her breaking that wheel to me, I'm gonna be honest. I was not a fan of this new wheel that they constructed, so I was really happy that she broke it. And even then, before we got that spin to where she broke it, let's just look at the first time she spun it.
Okay.
Stacy Howard working some frontier medicine.
Look. Oh, there it is. Yeah, sorry. That's the second time she spun it.
Well, fans of the movie Trivia Schmoedown.
Yeah, but that was a quick one. You see that?
Has suffered a catastrophic
Oh, well, Clark Wolf at the desk. I forgot about that.
Due to the nature of the
Yeah, she was.
injury and out of respect for the wheel's family, we will not show the wheel at this point. However, we hope it pulls through. We don't have any more medical information other than that.
Yeah.
So what we are going to have to do is have Stacy Howard, who will heretofore be known as the wheel killer, pull a category.
Yeah, that name should have stuck.
I know.
Wheel killer, or at least now when she's in, or at least when you introduce her the way that Daenerys is introduced, the breaker of wheels.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
The breaker of wheels. Yeah, I do agree. I was not a fan of that new wheel. I mean, I get it. It's a lot more. It was meant to be a lot more sturdy, a lot more. And not as fallible to be broken as the original, as that previous wheel they had. But seriously, I guess it's one of the reasons why Christian and Mark kept saying don't spin from the pegs.
You think? I mean,
yeah.
Between that wheel and the digital wheel, they had a lot of talk back about wheels.
They did. I'd have to admit that the wheels in general, at least with Stacy Howard, she, let's talk about it. Before she killed the wheel, I would say Stacy Howard's luck with the round 2 wheel slices, depending on whether she won or lost, was always back and forth. I mean, in her match against Makuga, she got directors. She was still able to navigate that slice very well. But then in her match against Mark Ellis, when she got action adventure, wasn't action. Jesus Christ, I'm already forgetting her match. No, you know what? Hold on. Let me just double check. Yeah. Throughout Stacy's career, the one slice that she got the most was directors, honestly. Like she got it 3 separate times in her match against Makuga, in that triple threat against Janine and Mark Andraco, and then in her match against Dan Murrell. Now the first time against Makuga, she was able to navigate very well and win. But then in her match against Janine and Mark, unfortunately, it didn't fare her very well because she was the first person out in the 3rd round. And then, of course, in her match against Dan just took steals from Stacy to knock her out. Or it was just a simple loss, honestly.
To make this man, that's a hard category.
I mean, obviously it is. But with directors alone, even though directors is very broad, it still narrows down to where you're mainly going to get director questions. You just bit my tongue for a second.
Ooh, ouch, painful.
Never mind. It was just a nick. But even then, just getting questions in directors alone is still a very broad, but at the same time narrow sort of slice. It's not like when you spin a genre like action, adventure, or romance, or rom-com films to where if you're familiar with the movies within this genre, yeah, you're going to be able to nail it. With directors, unfortunately, it's just going to pull directors from every decade, every year. So the fact that Stacy, 1 out of 3 times, was able to win with that slice, I still think is very impressive. I still think it is.
So, with all this being said, where do you see Stacy's career going in the next few seasons?
I still see her a part of the Schmoedown. Now, where it stands with her as a player, I don't know. I kind of want to see her in 1 more year. Well, 2. I want to see her keep playing until she wants to stop playing. But I want to see her have another year to where she gets towards title contention. Because I do see that she has that ability to get towards title contention, honestly. Okay, I'll admit, that was kind of like a surprise that made me have to think twice, honestly. Because when she did join, it was unsure who the other member of Corruption was going to be, that it was going to be Stacy's partner. And then when it was revealed in the match against late to the party, the fact that it was Tim Franco, I go, wait, like it gave me that, wait, I think I know him. And then like, oh, yeah, I got him.
Yeah. Same here. Could you see Stacy eventually as a manager?
I don't think so, honestly. And it's not because I don't think she wants to be a manager. I just think I kind of feel like Stacy kind of likes being a performer. I'm not saying she won't be able to do that as a manager, but it's going to be more to where she could be like an advisor. She'll be in the position of an advisor, honestly. Kind of like how Grace.
Like a Rachel Cushing, right? Well,
kind of like to what Grace was for Kate in the Den, or during when Grace or like Grace was with Corruption. You know, she's there to advise, kind of be like a player coach in a way. I would see her in more of that situation.
Kind of like an assistant manager, and they have them.
Okay, like what Whit was for the Dungeon last season, huh? I could see that.
Yep.
But what about you, Ben? I mean, clearly with Stacy Howard, do you see her having a few more seasons in her with the Schmoedown?
Yes, I do. At least 2 more seasons, at least. And hopefully and I think she will get a title match eventually. As long as she keeps studying, keeps winning her A game, she has all the tools. She'll get there. It's a matter of when and... Okay, so she's on the mix right now. Do you think that's the right faction for her?
What faction again?
She's on the mix, right?
No, she's on the Suspects.
No.
Suspects.
The Suspects, I'm sorry. You think that's the right faction for her?
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, she just had one match with them so far. Okay. So, but even then, Sam was still willing to go up to bat for her. And even then, the people that she has in her faction, she's got Liz, she's got Ethan, she's got she has McWeenie. I know Paige Fabretti, Amara Moses, Frankie Alvarez, Paul Walter Hauser, and just already great people who, whenever it comes with just with training, studying, she has great people to bounce off with.
I got the perfect partner for her.
Lay it on me.
And Paige.
Her and Paige, honestly. I really could see them together. I definitely could.
I think they both have great characters, and they both have that sassiness, and they both have the knowledge.
Yeah, they got that sharp tongue. They got a sharp tongue, honestly.
Absolutely.
They can cut people down.
I could totally see them together.
Yeah, that is actually a good pick.
And I can see Stacy helping you. I don't want to mentor Paige. You mean that voice of experience for Paige, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, mentor-mentee relationship. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, I do see Stacy. She can be the veteran of this team to where she's not only familiar with the rules, but also she's played the game for such a long time that she can be able to take someone like Paige under her wing. I actually do like that the more you're explaining it, honestly. I don't see her with Frankie Alvarez, unfortunately, because I think he needs maybe a few more games in order to feel like he's ingratiated. Paige, within her first match, I do think that she is definitely ready to move forward in the Schmoedown. That's for sure.
And I'm telling you, that team is waiting to happen. Paige and Stacy, make that happen.
Well, that is if they get more teams matches down the season. Right now, we already got that tournament lining up. Maybe if Christian is able to secure a studio or at least a place to, I mean, let's be honest, a studio is going to be very difficult. It's going to, like I said, it's just going to take time.
California, almost there. We're almost there. This close.
Well, like I said, I mean, if the first live in studio match is going to be the Spectacular, I won't have nothing against that. But even then, hopefully we'll get some more potential teams matches, maybe somewhere halfway into the year. I mean, in the back half of the year. Other than that, Stacy Howard, I swear she's given us so much here. Not just her breaking the wheel, but honestly, out of a top 5, I want to say top 5 Stacy Howard moments. Honestly, obviously, I would put her guessing answers as the number 1 because it all times down to just the moment itself. Each of them has their own. Like we can easily I think we can do a top 5 of the best answers out of nowhere. Like, oh my god, another great reference of Stacy Howard. I see Stacy Howard as a bit of the Randy Orton of movie trivia. How she just simply sneaks in, pulls an answer out of nowhere, and shocks people. And of course, people who are not familiar with wrestling, Randy, if you are aware of these, if you see these gifs of a certain wrestler just coming out of nowhere and knocking people down, that's Randy Orton. And I would just say, just Google RKO out of nowhere onto your YouTube, and you will get a litany of moments to where you see RKO out of nowhere. And I would associate that with Stacy Howard. She just gets answers out of nowhere, much better than Josh McCouga, honestly. She does it much better. That's why I think the McCouga magic is no longer McCouga magic. It is definitely Stacy's. Sorry, I just thought of another reference. Go ahead.
No, after you, please.
Well, I mean, people out there who are familiar with My Hero Academia, and guessing, just being able to pull answers out of nowhere, I would consider that a one for all, the power of the one for all. And Josh McCouga was more of the all might of the guessing answers. Now it's passed on to Stacy to where she is now, she's Deku. She makes it her own. And I don't have to associate with that character, but just the ability to be able to do that. That's where I think when it comes with it. Guessing answers out of nowhere is the one for all quirk of the Schmoedown. And right now, Stacy is the one who's currently cultivating that quirk.
I think you called it before. The perfect name for Stacy is Stacy the Sorcerer of the Schmoedown.
I would. Man, that'd be. Honestly, Sassy just rolls right off the tongue with her. It would be very, very difficult to take that away from her, honestly. Yeah, and I think Christian's tried.
Well, is there anything else you want to bring up before we wrap up here?
Well, I mean, missed opportunities. Brian brought up the match that we never got, Stacy versus Clark. I think another missed opportunity would have been Brienne versus Stacy, honestly.
Ooh, maybe not as like an official match, but
more maybe of an exhibition,
maybe exhibition, of course.
Oh yeah.
I put that as the same thing as a Christian versus Mark. Or a Christian versus Wolf.
Oh no, I want her to go up against Mark Andreyko, actually. Have her complete the set of beating Marks.
Oh my god. That hasn't happened yet? Make that happen.
Well, she was in a triple threat match against Mark Andreyko, but she lost. But I think that's why this season I want to see her get pretty much like a punch card of Marks. I want to see her beat Mark Andreyko and Mark Edward Hoyk and have it complete so she can finally be called the destroyer of Marks.
Not gonna fight
the Mark Crusher. The Mark Crusher.
Not gonna fight Stacy versus Draco, versus Hoyt, versus Ellis, and versus Riley.
She's already beaten those two. Like, I just want her to beat the Marks that she hasn't beaten yet. But I still love that. Hell, Andreyko and Hoyk are viable competitors this season. Hoyk just had a loss. Riley Andreyko has not played yet. So I think possibly before a singles tournament happens, I want to see Stacy Howard versus Mark Edward Hoyk.
That would be perfect. That would be, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think of great missed opportunities. But even then, maybe an exhibition match I mean, Brienne played a rom-coms exhibition match. Let's get a one-on-one exhibition match between her and Stacy Howard. And then everyone in their headcanon can start doing a 6-degree Civil War like kind of thing.
And you got a lot more Civil Wars in the Schmoedown.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the Wildberry Civil War was a hard one to pull off. I mean, even the Civil War with oh my God, I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, the Team Action Civil War. You see, I forgot about that because, to be honest, it really wasn't a Civil War because it was obviously it was a one-way match. The Wildberries, on the other hand, those were literally two guys who you could not imagine who was going to come out on top.
How about the Schmoedown Civil War? How about Chris Elliott?
Well, from that 5-round exhibition match, that itself didn't feel like a Civil War. It was just more of a fun match. But even then, you know what? I guess when it comes to storyline purposes, I think the one Civil War I think could work. Maybe a corruption Civil War. Teacher versus. Oh no, wait, we had that with Mike and Chance, and that even that.
We had that.
You know what? That's fine. We can think about something like that later. But wrapping up.
I have one.
Oh,
I have one. Shazam. Bibbs with the kid.
We technically got that with that triple threat in New York, but even then, that wasn't a one-on-one. So I see your point.
Yeah, we could do that all day.
Yeah, we really could do this all day. But Stacy Howard, I do say she has had herself a very great litany of matches. I just want her, and I don't want to give her this title as the greatest player to never have won a championship. I think she's the greatest player to never been given a title shot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Or hell, we may even get it this season if we get Snyder versus JTE, honestly.
That's the one I want.
Oh, wait. We did see JTE versus Snyder early in season 4. Wow. Never mind. Schmoedown already crossed that off.
We did, but I don't think they were the Patriots yet.
They were still team champs.
I don't count that as a Civil War yet.
Okay, no worries.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I said that's good, but keep going, man.
I only count a Civil War once a team is formed.
Mm-hmm.
And then
they break up, yeah.
And then they break up.
Yeah, it does make a lot more sense, honestly. It does. So, yeah, we could see Snyder versus JTE instead as team partners, but as actual rivals now. But I still love Leo's suggestion of a Snyder versus Draco. I mean, seriously, I thought we could have gotten a tease of an odd couple breakup, and depending on the scheduling, if the odd couple gets stripped of those titles, we really could see that.
And see what happens.
But Ben, final thoughts on Stacy Howard as we were wrapping up with her. Just like we did a lot of that earlier in the first couple minutes, but even then, just your final 2 cents.
Like I said, she's a whole package. She has great character. She has the knowledge. She's entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. She's been here since the beginning. You gotta love her. She's great. She has a one-liners. Mm-hmm. She'll get a title, no doubt in my mind. Just great competitor. How about you?
I reiterate your same thoughts as well. To me, she is the greatest Schmoedown player to not have been given a title contention yet. Not to win a belt, but to be given that option. Because, to be honest, we've had so many Schmoedown competitors who everyone says, oh, this is the greatest person ever to win a title. That is if they worked their way to the championship. To me, she's one that's never been given it yet. And I'm not saying hand it to her on a silver platter. But I think there were moments that if they were changed a little differently, we would have seen Stacy in this title match. But you know what? Oh, go ahead.
I really going to say that I got a hashtag going. Stacy and Paige as a team.
Well, we tried that with Perry and Beth. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Maybe this time it could work. Paige and Stacy and Paige. Let's see if we can get those two together. The sassy badasses.
I like that.
That is our hopeful team name for Stacy Howard and Paige Fabretti, the Sassy Badasses. Let's try it.
Hashtag that, everyone.
We'll
Hashtag
put that in the comment section. Hell, maybe we can try to when we share this video, just hit hashtag Sassy Badasses, and then we'll see where that goes. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us live. If not, if you're rewatching this, give us a like. Put a comment in. Put comment in our videos. See if there's any Schmoedown player you want us to cover. Hit that into the comments. And then Ben and myself and John, we can definitely tackle this competitor down the road. We still got May is just beginning, so we're going to have ourselves most likely a big month this year with Schmoedown competitors.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
so Oh, no, go right ahead.
I really going to say, Ryan, where can everybody find you?
Well, everyone can follow my Twitter, caramel_pain. Believe me, I may not post a lot there, but my Twitter is there, so I do respond to it. And, of course, find me here on Mount Schmoedown on the Schmoes of the North Network, along here with Ben Rayner. And then also you guys can go, if you guys love listening to wrestling, or if you love wrestling, I have a wrestling podcast with my friend who made his debut in the First Class League, James Schmoe. It is called the Wrestling, Ramblings, and Rages podcast. Yes, guys. My co-host, James Schmoe, made his debut in the FCL. It's on the Twitch channel. They will soon upload his match onto YouTube. But even then, if you have Twitch, go to FCL. Check out his match against Kaylin Corrigan, the other half of the Scream Queens, and watch that match. Enjoy it. And then later on, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Anchor and listen to Wrestling Ramblings and Rages as you see James and myself just go crazy over wrestling shows that's happened within the weeks of us watching them. Ben, where can they find you?
You can find me at Ben_Rainier on Twitter. Follow me, I answer. And you can also find me at my other YouTube channel, the Media Studies Network. We do plenty of shows. And it's a good time.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, like the video, leave a comment on who do you want to see us cover in the future. Have yourselves a great Saturday for those who are watching live, and for everyone at home, have yourself a great day, great night. Enjoy yourselves. Take care of each other. Good night.
Have a good one.